Hi guys, and welcome to another video. We're talking about if the Focus passed its MOT. So the reason we're talking about if the Focus passed its MOT is because it had a couple of issues that it needed sorting before its MOT. Now I'm going to run through what I did to get it potentially through, or what I've had to change to get it to pass its MOT, and obviously at the end of the video if it passed or not. Anyone with a bit of a brain obviously could realise that if you just do a reg check you can figure out rather than just watching the whole video. But don't do that. There's no fun in that. So let me run through what happened when I took it to its MOT. So the first thing I had to do was buy all new bolts. So as you can see right there, that bolt is brand new. So that one there is a multi one, that's a brand new one, and that's a multi one. So basically what happened was, when I fitted my spacers on the front, obviously the rears are absolutely fine, but I fitted them to the front as well. And when I fitted them and I tightened all the bolts up, when I lowered the car, it sheared a bunch of bolts. So I think obviously there wasn't enough thread. So when the weight of the wheel and the spacers were in, it just sheared them clean off. So after that eventful thing happened, what I then had to do was buy a whole set of new bolts, because I was basically 4 bolts down. So what I did is I took 1 bolt from each wheel, so it was all of them had 3, and then yeah, so I had to buy a whole new set of bolts to get it to have 4 bolts in each wheel, which I don't know officially if that is an MOT need to have 4 bolts in the wheel, but I just sort of assumed it was, like it's an obvious thing that you should have 4 bolts in the wheel, not 3. So I did that. That was the first thing I had to do, was buy 4 bolts to make sure all the bolts, to make sure all the wheels had all the bolts it needed. The next thing I had to do is quite an obvious one, looking at the back of the car: the shortened number plates. So although these are stamped and are regulated by roller plates and it has the official stamp, so the spacing and the size of the lettering is completely as it should be. Obviously I've basically just got rid of all the extra white number plate that's there. And for example, I'll get the correct one now and show you, because that's another thing I had to buy, was legal number plates. So these are the number plates I bought from Halfords. As you can see, it's almost identical to my number plates, except you just get rid of all of that additional white that you just don't need. But yeah, as you can see, they're spaced and the sizing is completely the same. So technically, you know, going through speed cameras and, you know, car park chargers, all those sort of things, it reads correctly. It just doesn't have all that extra white number plate that you just don't need. But anyway, I had to buy them as well. So it was a pack of bolts for £25, a set of legal number plates for £40, and then the last thing I had to do to get it for its MOT, the last thing I had to do, and I guess probably one of the most questionable things, is get rid of that engine management light. Now the issue is the reason I've got an engine management light is because the airflow from my catalytic converter at the start of it and then at the end of it is different, because I fitted a Scorpion exhaust, which is a more free flowing exhaust. So because of that, when the airflow is coming from the engine through the manifold out the exhaust, at the start of the cat, there's a lot more pressure than there is at the end of the cat, because it's, you know, it's flowing a lot more freely. And because of that, I've got a management light. But yeah, so because of that, I've got an engine management light. So the only way to get rid of it is by coding it out. Now, what I had done previously with this engine management light is code it out and then drive to see how long it takes for it to come back on. And from daily driving it, every day to and from work, it takes about 2 days to come back on. So I knew driving to the MOT place, and then if I code it out on the way there, it would be fine for the next 2 days. So you can argue about it in the comments, but it is a little bit dodgy. I understand, you know, you shouldn't do that, but it's not really an issue. And obviously it got through the MOT. Spoiler, it got through the MOT because it didn't have an engine management light on. But it is a simple thing, you know, it is just an airflow sensor. Technically, if I bought a new cat or cleared out my cat, it would go out because the airflow would be correct. But anyway, so yeah, the one dodgy thing which you can sort of dispute in the comments is that I shouldn't have done that, obviously, because it's a bit of a dodgy MOT, because the engine management light is still on, but I coded it out just to get it through the MOT. And I can get it sorted. It's not like it can't be fixed. What I will preference this video in saying is that whenever you go to put your car through an MOT, there's easy things to check to make sure it doesn't fail on them. For example, I checked all my tyres were at least off the blocks in tread, which they all are by miles. I also checked all my discs and pads to make sure the discs didn't have a lip, and the pads, there was plenty of pad. The way to check if you've got enough pad is by checking if the pad that's on, is that the pad on the brake pad is thicker than the pad. So like normally a brake pad itself is about 1 centimetre thick, and then the brake pad material, I don't know how to say brake pad without saying brake pad, is like double the thickness normally. It has to be at least the thickness of the brake pad or thicker. So if your brake pads look thinner than about 1 centimetre, then they're close to failing, or you might get an advisory on it. Also, checking your washer fluid levels, making sure that the actual washer jets spray evenly onto the windscreen, checking your coolant, checking your oil. I don't think they check the oil, but you know, it's just worth checking. But yeah, they're very easy things. And obviously also, all the bulbs, make sure your hazards, your main beam, your full beam, your fog lights, making sure they all work before going is very easy, simple things to check to make sure they don't fail on them, because they're very easy things to fix before it even fails. It's not worth putting it in and then it failing on a headlight bulb. You may as well check everything like that. All very easy, simple things to check before putting your car through an MOT. Now to go through the advisories it had, and it had a few. So it had a windscreen crack, which is just here. I don't know if you can quite see it, but it's right at the bottom of the windscreen. It goes along here, there, look, you can just see it there. Oh, focusing on the dash. But yeah, it's very minimal, and it just goes along the bottom part of the windscreen here. It's nothing major really, which is why it was only advised. Look, there you go, you can see it. It just goes along the bottom there. It is a rather large crack going all the way along the bottom of the windscreen, but as long as it doesn't interfere with any of the main part of the windscreen that you look through, that's absolutely fine. So if you had a crack in your windscreen like here, don't worry about it. If you've got one obviously going straight across, worry about it. That's going to need changing. That will not pass an MOT. So the next advisory it had was a sun strip sticker fitted. So apparently, if you have a sun strip on your car nowadays, I guess it's dependent on how far down it is, which my one isn't, you know, there you go. Like mine isn't absurdly down, like you see some of them like down here. So it's not a massive sun strip, but yeah, apparently sun strips are advisories now. The sump area being corroded, I mean, it is a Ford, they are notorious for rusting, so that is sort of understandable, that just is what it is. Apparently it has a upper coolant leak. I've actually checked this, and it is slightly seeping through there. So I am gonna have to sort that out at some point. So it has got a coolant leak. It's very minor. It isn't very often. I've never even noticed it on the drive or anything like that. So it is very, very minor, but it does have a coolant leak. Various suspension components have corrosion. Yet again, Ford stands for fix or repair daily. It doesn't actually, but it might as well, because yeah, they are notorious for rusting. So I need to get oil underneath, and I need to go over the hole under the car to get that sealed, because yeah, they are notorious for rusting. And then brake pipes, either covered in grease or other material. I had that for 2 of them, and then the other ones had slight corrosion and sidewall area tyre splitting. Yeah, because it's very old tyres. Like the tyres aren't very new. So although they're absolutely fine for tread, yeah, they're just they're old. Yeah, so overall the Focus passed its MOT, and it passed it reasonably well. Basically, other than a cracked windscreen, a sun strip, corroded brake lines, corroded engine parts, a coolant leak, yeah. And then I guess technically the number plates, which I've immediately changed back so they look better, and the engine management light is still on. But overall, the car is absolutely solid. I mean, tyres, brakes, it runs lovely. Yeah, so overall, the car passed its MOT, thank God, and yeah, another year of driving it. Although, ironically enough, Jade will be getting a new car soon, so it will just be sat on the drive. But I will still make videos on it, obviously, because the Project WRC does still continue. I will still be WRCing this car. It's just costing a lot more than I thought. So yeah, a WRC kit will be put onto this car one day. But stay tuned if you do want to see that. Comment below what you want to see next. And yeah, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.